All In Sports Network. We love sports.
All right, welcome back to All In Mizzou. Happy Tuesday, right? Kind of losing track of my days. It's Tuesday afternoon here. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. I am excited to get to talk about Missouri's offense today. I rewatched all of Missouri's offensive snaps against South Carolina. Missouri beat South Carolina 29-20 on Saturday night. I rewatched it this morning. I have some things I want to talk about. I picked out a few plays that I want to talk about. I like, whether I like the play call or just a concept or a result of a play. I picked some out that we can talk about. And I got a new toy to play with this episode that I'll show you guys later. So stick around for this. I'm excited for it. First, I just want to go over some notes, some general notes I had on the offense while rewatching. He said it after the game. He said it this week in a press conference. Eli Drinkwitz continues to stress, just how important he believes it is that an SEC team, an SEC team that runs the ball well will win games. You have to run the ball well in the SEC. And, he says that, but you can also see it in his practice with the way he and Kirby Moore run that offense. They ran the ball all over the place against South Carolina. They've got two really good running backs who are both capable of breaking off big chunks of runs. They've got a quarterback who can use his legs. I think Bo Pribula probably had his best game running the ball. He wasn't anything super special. He wasn't bad passing the ball, but running the ball, I thought he was good. Missouri opened this game up on offense after getting a stop. They get the ball and they run the ball 3 straight times. And early on in this game, what they're doing is they're running a lot of counters where, it was working very well. What they do is they bring a man in motion. Usually it's a slot receiver or a tight end. They bring someone in motion damn near every play that they run. But on these counter runs, they bring him in motion and he goes across and sets, a pull block. It's usually you'll have guards or fullbacks pulling to the other side for counter runs, but it's instead Drinkwitz is using usually a tight end or Kirby Moore, I guess, the offensive coordinator. They're using a tight end to go over there and pull block, and I'll show you that later. I picked out a counter run we can talk about that with on one of my plays, but they have 2 tight ends that run over there and block and clear a hole, and it was working really well on the first drive. The motion is, they bring a guy in motion almost every play, and that's really difficult on a defense trying to figure out what that means and, what exactly it makes it hard for the defense to guess what exactly the offense is going to do. But like I said, I'll get into that in a little bit. But the first drive, they established the run quickly, didn't score. But on the second drive, things got going. They had some big runs. They went 99 yards and scored. I think it's safe to say now at this point that Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts make up the best backfield in the SEC. And, I don't know everything about every backfield in America, but I imagine they've got to be one of the best backfields in all of the country. Both these guys put it on full display against South Carolina. They are violent runners. They're just like, you cannot tackle them. Missouri ran, by the way, for 285 yards in this win. 285 rushing yards. That's ridiculous. Ahmad Hardy had 138 yards, 22 carries. He also scored a touchdown. Jamal Roberts had 76 rushing yards on 13 carries. He also scored a touchdown. And Bo Pribula had 72 rushing yards. He ran the ball well, like I said. Looking at, I talked about how these guys are tough to bring down. They're violent runners. Ahmad Hardy had 118 yards after contact. He leads the country in yards after contact this year. And he got 118 more on Saturday. Jamal Roberts had 57 yards after contact in the win. So he had 76 total yards, right? 57 of them are after contact. Let's pull out the calculator and do a little bit of math. 75% of his rushing yards came after contact. Jeez. In Hardy's case, 85% of his rushing yards came after contact. Like, what are you even supposed to do if you're a defense? You can't bring these guys down. Ahmad Hardy has 37 missed tackles forced on the season. Last year, he had 93. He's well on his way to being up there around the same number again this year. He has 458 yards after contact here through 4 games. To put that into perspective, if you took away all the yards that do not come after contact, so in other words, just take his 458 yards after contact. If you just take those, he would be the 7th highest. He would have the 7th most rushing yards in the country. So Ahmad Hardy altogether has 600 yards rushing, 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's good enough for 2nd in the country in rushing yards, behind Robert Henry Jr. out of UTSA, who must be having a hell of a year. I haven't watched him play, but if he's running more than Ahmad Hardy, he must be really good. I'll have to check him out. So Ahmad Hardy is 2nd. Ahmad Hardy after contact would be 7th in the country. That's just ridiculous, really. And you talk about some of the runs he had, and Roberts, both these guys had. I'll go over 2 of them. He had 2 long runs. One of them was that first touchdown drive of the game where he just totally embarrasses a tackler, sits him down, and goes and picks up a gain of, I think, 27 yards. And then there's another play where he gets 38 yards and makes 4 guys miss. I guess he has 4 missed tackles forced on that run. And then he has the touchdown run, which was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen live, watching it live in my living room. Sitting there, it looks like the play is over. And then he, his feet are literally off the ground. His back is to the end zone. And somehow he spins around, his feet hit the ground, he goes and scores. Pretty insane. Jamal Roberts also had a run like this. Not quite as ridiculous. It wasn't a touchdown, but he did have a run where he kind of disappeared. I think it was later in the game, but he went into this. He disappeared in a pile of defenders and somehow came out of it and picked up, 20-something yards. These guys are just really tough to bring down. And I don't know what you do if you're a defense. I don't know what the hell UMass is going to do next week. That's going to be interesting to see. But I say, we'll talk about UMass more later. But this is certainly a game you should win if you're Missouri. You should dominate it like they did last year. I say you let Hardy get his 100 yards, which he could probably do in the first quarter if he wanted, and then take him out. No need to risk it. Let Roberts get some run. Let Marquise Davis get some run. Let Tavoris Jones get some run, man. This guy's been here for years, and he doesn't get any opportunity. I'm done with the Tavoris Jones disrespect. Give him a carry or 2. My goodness. All right. What else do I have here? My notes. Let's move on to Bo Perbula. Like I said, I think this was his best game running the ball. He had 75 rushing yards, and only 24 of those were on design run plays. So the rest of them The rest of the 51 yards came on scrambles or, escapes from the pocket. And someone needs to teach the kid how to slide. That became very clear. He likes to kind of just fall head first instead of slide. He finally slid at the end of the game. But maybe get his quarterback buddy Sam Horn, who's hurt, not doing anything. Maybe get him to teach him how to slide. Get the baseball player to give you some help. He needs to learn how to slide and keep himself safe because he took a big hit to the head that I thought probably was targeting, but they overturned it, whatever. Anyway, yeah, get the guy to slide. But he did run well. I love seeing that because it adds another element of this offense. I thought he threw it on the run pretty well. On the first drive of the game, he rolled out. I mean, he was under pressure. I thought the O-line did a good job, but there were times where the pocket collapsed and he had to get out and make a throw on the run, where he did that a couple times. And I thought he looked good doing that. He made a couple really good throws. On that 99-yard touchdown drive at the end of the first quarter, into the second quarter, he had a couple of very big throws. He had a really nice throw to the right sideline to his tight end, Brett Norfleet. He put it only where Brett could get it. A really well-placed ball. And then a couple plays later, he throws a ridiculous pass to Josh Manning in the end zone. He throws it like in between two defenders, behind it, over the hand of another one. Really a good a perfect throw. Couldn't have been a better throw for his touchdown. So even when his passing stats aren't incredible, he is still making these throws. He looks really steady. Only a couple poor throws. There was the interception, his second of the year, his second game in a row with an interception. It was a play action, which Missouri ran a lot because of how well they ran the ball. Safety didn't really bite on the play action. He dropped back into coverage, and I guess Bo didn't see him. Threw it across the field to Marquise Johnson, and it was picked off. Pretty easy pick, but what are you going to do? He responds to that on the next drive. South Carolina takes the lead after that interception. They go 14-9, I think, or 14-6 maybe. 14-9, I think. He responds to that. He picks up a big third down. It was like 3rd and 6, and if you pump back to South Carolina there, they have all the momentum. He picks it up with a really nice throw to Kevin Coleman Jr. on 3rd down. And then the two throws after that, he has two back shoulder throws down the field. One of them, I think, was to Manning or Marquise Johnson and Josh Manning, maybe. Marquise Johnson's was a catch. The other one was just out of bounds, but two good throws nonetheless. So I like how he responded to his interception. His other miss came in the fourth quarter. You're trying to ice this thing away. There's like 6 minutes left in the game, 3rd and 6. If you pick it up, the drive keeps going. He had Marquise Johnson open, overthrew him, threw it over his head. You have to punt the ball back to South Carolina. Thankfully, the defense stepped up. You get the ball back, and then that's when you're able to go score, ice it with the field goal. Overall, I thought Bo was good. He had, whatever it was, 250. No. 250 total yards. Is that what it was? Yeah. Yeah, about 250 total yards, a touchdown, an interception. Pretty good. Can't really complain too much about that. The receivers. Well, the route concepts as a whole, I thought were pretty fun. It looked a lot like what I do in my college football dynasty, the plays I call. A lot of mesh, a lot of crossers. His touchdown throw to Josh Manning was on a mesh route, a mesh concept. Basically, mesh is just where you have a bunch of receivers running quick routes, quick crossing routes. And the idea, I think, is to get these guys going full speed across the field and then throw it to them in space and let them keep running. And it's really tough on defenders, especially if you're playing man coverage, to keep up, because there's some rubbing, there's rub routes, and You definitely saw that on that touchdown. Brett Norfleet went up there and, tried to get in the way of Marquise Johnson's defender. And I don't think it was a pick, but it didn't matter because he threw it to Josh Manning anyway. Bo did. So you're seeing a lot of mesh, and I like that. You're seeing some screens, some quick screens that are set up by your good run game. I mean, I just think Kirby Moore, for the second time this year, second time in 4 weeks, he earned SEC Coordinator of the Week. And if things keep going this way, if he keeps calling plays how he's doing it right now, I have a hard time thinking he won't be in line for a head coaching job somewhere this summer or this offseason, I guess. We'll see. I hope he sticks around because he's been a lot of fun. To me, the offense looks so much better than it did last year. And last year you had Theo Weiss and Luther Burden. And a pretty good run game with Nate Noel. But there's something about this year where the offense just looks better and a lot more fun to watch as a fan, for sure. I think the receivers continue to block well. Alubade blocked well on I think it was Jamal Roberts' touchdown run. Alubade was blocking well. I mean, Brett Norfleet and Jordan Harris, the two tight ends, they block really well. They're a huge, huge part of this run game, and I'll show it to you in a second. But these two guys are integral, whatever, very important to the run game. And Brett Norfleet only had 3 catches. Harris had 0. So it's really an unselfish brand of football, letting these guys or having these guys block in the run game as well as they do. Jordan Harris also blocked well in the pass game. We should mention that. I'll get into the PFF grades later, obviously. Last thing, the offensive line I thought held up really nicely. And this was the big question heading into this game because, Thursday night, Caden Green, left tackle, is probable. Friday night, he's out, which you don't see very much at all. It looks like he's going to be out for 3 to 5 weeks, which means best case scenario, you get him back for the Auburn game, I think. It doesn't feel like he's going to be there for Alabama in 2 weeks, or I guess that would be. You could get him back for the Auburn game. I guess the best case scenario is you get him back for Alabama, but we'll see because that'll be about 3 weeks. Right? Am I doing this math right? Yeah. Anyway, he's out all of a sudden. Big surprise. Javen Richardson has to step in. Thought he did a really nice job at left tackle. I thought Keegan Trost was awesome. He was the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Dominic Judy's still really good. Those 2 transfers have been really good. And then I thought Curtis Piegler, who's kind of struggled sometimes this year, I thought he was good. You're still getting a rotation between him and Tristan Wilson. But I thought Piegler was better today. The offensive line as a whole was just kind of eating up in the run game. Really good stuff. All right, I'm going to get into these plays. I'm going to show you some of these plays that I'm talking about. The first one is a counter run. I was talking about the counter concept. And this kind of run that I'm going to show you sets up a lot of the other plays I'm going to highlight too. So it all kind of goes together. Talks about how it kind of demonstrates how really good this run game is right now. So I'll be back to discuss it. All right, here's my new toy. Very excited about it. I went and picked it up this morning. It's a whiteboard for those of you who can't see. I picked it up this morning. Didn't fit in my car. I had to unscrew it. I had to do all sorts of stuff with it. And, I think it's going to work pretty well, though. I'm excited to show. Some people, I got some feedback saying, when I'm talking about this stuff, they don't know what I'm talking about. So I said, okay, I'll show you. So here we have our counter run. Excuse me. I have to figure out how this is going to work. The counter run, this was like a minute 44 left in the first quarter. And this is the 99-yard touchdown drive. This is a part of that drive. So what you have here, you have your 5 offensive linemen. Hopefully you guys can see all this. You have a tight end, Norfleet here, Harris here, Got 2 wideouts, Bo Perbula, Ahmad Hardy. So what's going to happen here before the snap happens, before anything happens, you have Brett Norfleet coming across in motion. This is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of motion in this offense. He comes across, gets to about right here, and then the ball is snapped to Perbula. When the ball's snapped, he's going to turn around and come back this way. Jordan Harris is going to go with him. Okay? This is what's here. This is what's going down. Immediately when the ball's snapped, what they're doing is they're selling a stretch play, wide zone play, which is what I was talking about, where everything goes this way and you go for a run, you run it. So the offensive lineman block this way. Well, he blocks him actually. This way. Okay, so you're selling it this way. Bo turns to his right. Ahmad Hardy takes a step to his right, gets the handoff, and comes left. Okay. So when this happens, when you fake right, when Hardy takes 2 steps to the right, the defense starts to kind of shift a little bit. This guy stays. But these guys all kind of shift over here a little bit. But you're pinning them that way. And now Richardson, Brett Norfleet, and Harris are going to create a hole on this side, the counter side. So with Harris and Norfleet, in a typical counter, you're pulling guards, but in this case, you have 2 tight ends doing that job. So Norfleet comes in motion, the ball is snapped, he's coming back. He's coming to get this defensive end, this standing defensive end, 9-tech, who's left unblocked because Richardson is going up this way. So he's coming down, and he is met by Norfleet here. Harris, your other tight end, is coming this way, and he's going to meet this safety who's coming down, who sniffed this out a little bit. He's coming down. Harris is going to meet him and block him. So you're blocked off. This linebacker for South Carolina does a pretty good job, actually. He goes this way a little bit, but kind of sees it and comes back. I think typically what you want here, I don't know for sure, but Richardson, if he gets a block on him there's a huge hole for Ahmad Hardy to get up. But he doesn't get a block on him. Instead, Richardson kind of goes this way for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a professional coach. But this linebacker's coming down, reads it well, unblocked, which means so now Hardy's got the ball. He's going to follow his tight ends through this hole. And South Carolina's linebacker and Hardy meet right here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, kind of. They meet right here. And this is at the line of scrimmage. For a normal running back, that's a gain of 0. But Hardy makes him look like a fool, makes him take a seat, sits him down. And since these guys are all shifting this way for the stretch, and then you have your lineman getting up levels, coming up, blocking. He's going to block there. He's going to block over here. Okay. So now once Hardy makes this guy miss, there's a giant hole. No one to tackle him. He gets upfield for a 27-yard gain. Anyway, this is a disgusting drawing here. I hope you were following along at least, didn't just look at the finished product. The point of this is this counter run game, especially when you kind of fake like it's going to be a stretch, is going to set up a lot more stuff later on in the game, and I'll get to that next. All right, here's our second play. Here's our second play. It's a stretch play in the third quarter with about 8 minutes left in the game. Missouri's down at this point. Here's your formation. You got Jordan Harris here. You got Brett Norfleet here. You got your 5 offensive linemen. Tristan Wilson's in here at right guard instead of Peagler. All right, you've got – so Olubade is here now. He starts over here. He comes in motion. Okay, so before the snap, he starts about right here. He's going to come in motion this way. So it's the same looking thing as the counter play. So these guys have to be aware that, even though the offensive line is going to go all this way, the run could come back this way, and this guy could be your lead blocker here. But this is not the case this time. What they run this time is an outside zone, a stretch play. So what happens is, obviously, ball snapped. You got Bo rolling, turning this way, and Hardy going this way. He's got the ball. He's going that way. Okay. So now your offensive lineman shifts hard here. Javen Richardson gets there. Judice gets here. Tollison comes, blocks him. Wilson comes and blocks him. So the whole defensive line is sort of shifting this way. They're coming down. So they have to get over and block it. All right. Obviously, you've got Marquise Johnson blocking out there, but now you've got the ball here. He's got the ball. And these linebackers start coming down to make this play. Now, this is where the play gets good. You have Keegan Trost. Well, first you have Brett Norfleet coming here, getting a block, just like that. And you have Keegan Trost coming here, getting a block just like that, sealing it off, right? You seal that off, allowing your all-American caliber running back, all he's got to do is come right up here, and he does. And not only does he do that, this is a gain of, I think, 39 yards, but he makes 4 guys miss, 4 missed tackles on just this play. And picks up 38 yards. This was a really well-blocked play. He didn't have too much trouble on the line of scrimmage like he did in the counter play. But this is that idea, man. It's the same thing. All the linemen go this way. Instead of the counter coming back this way, so you're pulling tight end going this way, you're actually running the stretch outside zone. It's a big pickup. I mean, it just is a demonstrator on how really a defense can't figure out what you're doing. And this big play sets up Hardy's touchdown, which I talked about earlier, the play where he was on his back on top of a defender and found a way in the end zone. So here's your second play. It's a stretch play, similar concept, similar looking thing. The idea, I think what I really think what Kirby Moore is doing so well is he's got a lot of plays that look the same that do different things, and that's difficult for defense. All right, let's move on to play number 3. All right, here's your third play. Play action boot, if you can see that. There's a glare coming in through the window here. But it's what it says up here is play action boot, okay? This is a play action based on the stretch runs and the counter looks that you've given the South Carolina defense already in this game, okay? It's the same thing. The other side this time, Bo is going to turn this way. Hardy's going to turn this way, acting like there's going to be a stretch play coming this way. It's going to be a play action right there, a play action, okay? So what happens here, all these defenders come this way. All of them get sucked in this way. You know, they all are interested in this stretch play here. So because the offensive line sells it, the offensive line comes this way, this way, this way, this way. And there was pre-snap motion here. I didn't talk about it yet. Before the snap happens, Harris comes out this way, and then comes back this way. It's snapped about when he's right here. And then he comes and seals this blocker here, okay? So it's a play action. With the routes you've got, Brett Norfleet kind of pretends he's blocking here for a second. Instead, he comes and runs kind of a shallowish crosser this way. Marquise Johnson here, wide out, similar looking thing, but a little bit deeper like that. Okay. And Josh Manning runs a little flag looking route like that. So you've got Bo, a fake handoff here. And why they call it the boot is he's going to boot out back to the right after faking. He's going to run this way. And he's looking for, you've got levels, you got level routes here. You've got 3 options, a short one, a medium, a deep one, which would end up way up there probably. All right, so defense gets sucked in because they think Hardy's going to come run his stretch route this way. Instead, Bo rolls out the middle route. Marquise Johnson hits him, for a big first down. This starts the fourth quarter on a big note. Not much to say here other than this is a simple play action concept, but it's set up by the previous run game success with the stretch plays, the outside zones, the counters. This is what happens when you establish a run. This makes it really easy on a quarterback when he's got, 2 or 3 options that are pretty open. So again, this is what happens when you establish a run, set it up. I think this is a really well-called game from Kirby Moore. I got 2 more plays to show you. Let's get to them now. Okay, here's your fourth play. This really doesn't have anything to do with kind of the play action zone, outside zone, counter stuff we've been talking about. But it is a cool play. I picked it because it's a cool play. Okay, so what happens here, it's just a wide receiver screen. It's kind of a tricky looking screen. Hardy goes in motion here before the snap. Snapped when he's probably about right here. Snaps the ball to Bo. All right, and you got all your offensive linemen coming to block here, get the blocks. And then they release, and they all get upfield. They all come this way upfield. This is how you set up a screen. So these defensive linemen now kind of have free shots. They're coming. Okay. What looks like is happening here is you're setting up a screen for Hardy, a running back screen. It looks like that's what's happening here. You have guys out here, the defensive backs coming this way because they think, it's going to be Hardy that they're going to need to get. Instead, it's a tricky little play here to Josh Manning, who steps over, gets the ball there. Norfleet also, I didn't do anything with him, but he's coming up here to the block. And now you got a hole here. Once you catch the ball, you got a hole right up there. I think he picked up like 11 yards. Nothing really crazy happening here. Although when it happened, this looked beat. This running back screen looked terrible. So I was like, why are we doing this? They tricked me. Had a tough little, kind of a sidearm pass here to Manning instead. And he gets a first down on the screen. Just a cool play call. Just wanted to take a look at it, see more about it. I got one more play that has to do a little bit with the stretch outside zone stuff, and then I'll be done with this cool new whiteboard. All right, last play we'll look at here is the quarterback bootleg run, which happened in the fourth quarter. And it was a big moment for Missouri. They get into plus territory, which ends up setting up a field goal that ultimately wins the game for the Tigers. But this play is set up once again by the success that Missouri had throughout the game with the outside zone run, the stretch run. So what's going to happen here, same exact concept. South Carolina knows Missouri's running. Missouri's trying to eat clock. South Carolina knows what's going to happen. All right, Bose gets the ball here, turns just like always. There's a handoff here, right? Everybody comes to block. Everybody right. All the offensive linemen go here. Except here, you have a fake. You got a fake. A dirty fake here. Everybody's going this way, though. They're so worried about Ahmad Hardy. Everybody is so worried about him. Even Dylan Stewart here, number 6 for South Carolina, who is a all-SEC end. He sees this. He's a free guy. They let this guy go. And he is committed to stopping Hardy on the stretch play. But the trick here, a really nice play from Kirby Moore. It's a fake handoff, bootleg, and Bo has all sorts of space up here to pick up a big gain, set up a field goal that wins the game for Missouri. I'm realizing now, hopefully, if you're on Spotify listening and not watching, you can understand what I'm talking about. But if you can't, go to YouTube and you can kind of see, the lighting's weird. I'm going to keep working on this. But it's cool to kind of show what I'm talking about with what Missouri's doing on offense. The play actions, the zone runs, the counters, all of it is working very well for Kirby Moore and company. And I think it's a pretty cool design, a pretty cool idea of what they want to do. So This was the last play I was going to talk about. A big play sets up the field goal. Next up, before we get out of here, let's get into some PFF grades from the game against South Carolina. All right. That was cool. Hopefully you like the whiteboard, the new addition to the room. It's sitting over there now. Yeah, hopefully you could see it. I'm going to have to look at it and make sure it all works out. I think it'll be cool to show everybody what I'm talking about when I'm doing these offensive rewatches. We'll see, though. We'll see. All right, let's get into PFF grades. Pro Football Focus puts out grades of each and every game each week. And we've got some here for Missouri. Okay, we've got the overall offensive grades for Missouri in this game against South Carolina. The highest graded offensive player for Missouri was Jamal Roberts, RB2, who had a nice game. We just talked about him a little bit. He had a 76 grade. Marquise Johnson, wide receiver, who I think he caught 9 passes in this game, maybe 8 or 9 passes. He had a great game, 75.8 grade. Ahmad Hardy, 73.7. Brett Norfleet, 73.7 also. And Keegan Trost, 68.8. Those are your highest graded offensive players. Let's get into pass blocking, a very important part of the offense. Dominic Judy's 86.3 pass block grade. Pretty good. Curtis Piegler, I mentioned that he had a good game. He played 26 snaps. Tristan Wilson played 8 snaps. So they're still splitting time, but Piegler is the main guy here. He had an 85.2 PFF grade. Right tackle Keegan Trost, 80.8 pass block grade. Ahmad Hardy. I didn't mention this when I was talking about Hardy earlier, and I meant to. Both he and Roberts were really good in pass protection. They're not afraid to go get hit in pass protection. He had a 75.7 PFF grade. And tight end Jordan Harris, 73.8 pass block grade. There you go. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let's move on to run blocking. Joshua Manning was the highest graded run blocker. I feel like this has happened before. This guy, caught a touchdown, but really he's doing a great job with the run blocking. That's been probably his biggest strength this year, a 76.6 grade. Norfleet was 62.5. Keegan Trost had a grade of 62.2. Marquise Johnson had a grade of 61.5. Okay, pretty good. Overall, looking at for the season, Hardy is still one of the highest graded running backs. Bo Prabula is still one of the highest graded quarterbacks. He, by the way, targeted 6 different wide receivers in this win. So pretty good there. But, yeah, this team playing really well. Playing really, really well. And you can see that. They've got the 17th highest graded passing offense. They've got the 4th highest graded offense. They have this 3rd best pass blocking grade as a unit. They have the 5th best receiving grade as a unit. They have the 10th best run grade as a unit. They have, the 26th best run block grade. This is a really good team right now. PFF thinks so. The stats think so. I think so. I think Missouri is finding a rhythm now with this run thing. They have an identity. It sets up everything. And, I try to demonstrate how an effective run game can open a lot more things up and make it difficult on a defense. That's all I have today, I think. I think we covered it all. I'll be back tomorrow to do defense, a defense rewatch. Come back for that if you're interested. Missouri beat South Carolina 29-20. On Saturday, they've got UMass coming up this weekend. Presumably, the Tigers will be 5-0 entering their matchup against Alabama in 2 weeks after the bye. All right, this is All in Mizzou. My name is Davis Wilson. We do it here, Mizzou, every day. Thanks to Rogue Media for letting me do it, having fun. Give me some feedback if you have any. YouTube people, like and subscribe. See that little graphic I just put up. I'm getting better with the technology and stuff. Look, someday we'll do a Q&A and I'll throw this up. Yeah. All right, all in Mizzou, though. Rogue Media. My name is Davis Wilson. Thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Come back on Wednesday to see me do it all again for the defense.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.